slightly 5 minutes into the top of the hour. Sincere apologies for that delay, but of course, the much anticipated, long-awaited conversation on the contraceptives is actually now live right here on In Focus. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Now, of course, on the program, we get to talk about various topical issues just to try and make sense out of them and try and understand what needs to be done to actually deal with those particular issues. And tonight on the table, we need to have a frank conversation about our rapid population growth. Of course, we need to actually understand the place of contraceptives. Where they place, of course, when it comes to the religious beliefs, when it comes to gender responsibilities, of course, the place of contraceptives in family planning. And of course, we want to just hear your views and whether you are actually worried about the population growth that we are continuing to see today. Does it worry you? You just come through, talk to us, hashtag InFocusRW. That's what you need to do. Simply add the hashtag InFocusRW. You don't need to actually add my Twitter handle or any other person. Just add the hashtag to make it easier to actually follow through those particular tweets that you're sending. We already have some tweets that have been coming through even before we started this conversation. One of them from Belize, who's actually saying men should get contraceptives. They leave it all to women. Hence, they should be in it together. Women contraceptives are risky in so many ways. They interfere with the way they were naturally created. So some women fear using them due to their side effects. We'll definitely take some time to understand this particular issue, education around contraceptives, what are the myths and what are the facts as far as contraceptives are concerned. We have a very able panel right here that is going to help us understand that. We have one from Pacific who says, yes, we should be worried. People are worried about the population growth while the level of income is still low. But the problem is that many people fear the side effects of contraception rather than having a child with no plan of the future. Some will actually quote some popular musicians from Kenya who actually say that Mungu akileta mtoto analeta sahani yake. Like when God gives you a child, then will give you a plate for that particular child. So people really fear the side effects as opposed to having those children, without planning. Let's have one more from Muzungu Hirwa, who says, as we approach the World Contraception Day at Tantin, Rwanda, we believe that information on different contraceptive methods should be available to people, especially youth, as fertility awareness is one of the methods. People deserve to actually know it. Definitely a powerful one. Keep those tweets coming. Hashtag InFocusRW. Let me now just introduce our panelists right here on the program. We have none other than Madame Madeleine Mukeshimana, who's actually Deputy Dean, School of Nursing. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Pleasure is mine.
Great. And also with us is Dr. Anisette Nzabonima, who's from the Rwanda Biomedical Center. You're in charge of integration of family planning, and also you're an expert on HIV. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Also with us is Dr. Eugene Goga, President of the Rwanda Society of Obstetrics and Gynecologists. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for
And also with us in the program is Professor Ulysses Stephen, Dean of School of Medicine and Pharmacy. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've always been bashed all the time that we only talk politics on In Focus and we leave out the academia. And tonight is actually your time on the show to talk about this very, very important issue. First of all, Madame Madeleine, we've heard from the tweets, people seem to be having less information about contraceptives. Some people having fears overriding the real issues as far as contraceptives is concerned. They say these things have side effects. I'd rather not risk my fertility. I'd rather just get this child without even planning. We'll take care of the other issue. What do you have to say about this?
What I have to say about this is that those people, they are not totally wrong. The contraceptives may have some side effects, but to me, I will not say that I would rather have an unplanned child, because these side effects, to me, they are not like, they are not very bad than planning my child. And what I want to say is, when you want to do something, you balance the benefit and then the negative things. So up to now, the contraceptive method, there are so many, they are different. So some have side effects, but they are minimum, they are minor. So you can choose.
You can choose.
Yeah,
so I mean, there's a choice.
Yeah,
but,
there's a choice.
Dr. Anisette, from the Rwanda Biomedical Center, how much of creation of awareness have we done? Because this seems to be a very big challenge. Many people have no information on the choices, and of course, even which one is preferred over the other. Most of the time, people go to these pharmacies, and over the counter, they're just given without even being told, these are the side effects, this is what you need to know. Much as you're buying this is what you should know. I mean, what is happening from the RBC perspective as far as information is concerned?
Okay, about providing information to the population, it is a continuous process, and it's a big process which is involving everyone, not only the Minister of Health or Rwanda Biomedical Center, not only health facilities or people working in the health sector, but also everyone to have the right information. The right information, it means that we have to ensure that people have a way to get information, and also not only information, but the right information. And there are different ways which are promoted and created by the Minister of Health through health facilities, health centers, community health workers, and also some specific strategies for some population like young people.
Yeah, let's take some time and talk about these young people. What is the strategy for them? Because we've seen people complaining we are having a huge number of unwanted pregnancies, and it's mostly among the young people. So what strategies are there in this area?
Yeah. For young people, we're creating just youth-friendly services, especially in 3 ways. One is to create youth corners within a health facility, like a health center, and then we prepare and we train at least 2 healthcare providers, a male and a female, just to coordinate the service for young people. And also we are working with other institutions like the Ministry of Youth, just through youth centers, to ensure that those youth centers created in a different district are providing reproductive health services, including providing distribution of condoms and other contraceptives to young people for pregnancy prevention. And also the 3rd way is to work with the Ministry of Education to ensure that the students at school level are having the right information through a program called Comprehensive Sexuality Education. So through the curricula used at different level, so we have different aspects of reproductive health, including pregnancy prevention, integrated in a school in the curricula.
And these particular strategies are working?
Yes, it is now working and implemented.
We'll take some time and interrogate that in the course of the program. Let me just jump over to Dr. Eugene. As the president of the Rwanda Society of Obstetrics and Gynecology, what do you think we are not doing right when it comes to this issue of use of contraceptives? From the issue of the religious beliefs, to the real side effects, the information as far as, telling the people and making them be the judge or the decision makers. What do you think we're doing wrong when it comes to these issues?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I'd rather say that we are really working hard to make that family planning is well understood by the people. But as you know, everything is a process. As you know, like 10, 15 years ago, maybe the number of people accessing this service were very small. But we believe that with a lot of education we have been doing, especially when we see our patients within ourselves as doctors, we emphasize the importance of family planning. And we also try to reassure our patients that side effects are minimal. It's not saying that this will kill someone or will make you very, very sick. So we try to explain to them different options, because we have so many options for family planning, contraceptive methods. So we try to explain to them different methods, and they make a correct choice. So we have been trying that for all these years, and I think that if you look at the figures, the number has increased for those accessing today family planning, but we still have a lot of work to do. And as we all say, that we need to work together. If you have some beliefs from coming different angles, we need to know how to deal with those beliefs. Because myself, I've seen patients who have managed to get pregnant unexpectedly. And it's very painful to see them, because it's surprising when they say, I didn't want to get pregnant. But the pregnancy is there, what can you do? So it means that for some reason they didn't take contraceptive. Maybe they forget to come to the doctor. Or secondly, they are among that group of people who don't believe that they should be using that because of beliefs and things like that. But I'm very optimistic that people, as they get more educated, they start understanding the importance of family planning. They start understanding maybe the consequences of having unplanned pregnancies, being like from the mother, the child, and even other aspects like finances and social. So let us say that we'll continue this battle of explaining to people, remove the fear of contraceptive among what they think. I don't believe that if there's something that's been studied for so many years, these are the contraceptive pills. And they're very low dose. They don't really have any issue about major side effect. And the good thing is that once you don't, it doesn't work with you, there's always an option. So there shouldn't be really any problem.
There should be no any problem. Professor Relisa, let me bring you in because Dr. Eugene, trying to be a bit diplomatic, doesn't even mention anything that we're not doing right. Let me just throw that question over to you. What is it that you think we're not doing right, that we should actually work on if we want to actually deal with this issue?
Thank you, Eugene. I think there is a problem. The problem that is bothering me is that when you see the global map and you put unmet need in family planning, which means the areas which have less access on family planning, and you match it on the maternal mortalities, they match exactly. The problem is that wherever we have unmet need in contraception, we have the highest number of maternal mortality. You find that in sub-Saharan Africa accounts for the highest number of maternal mortality, which exactly match with the same number of unmet need in family planning. So what we're doing wrong is that we're not saving lives in a nutshell. You can say that, actually. I mean, wherever you have unmet need in contraception, the risk of maternal mortality goes high.
It goes high. Because people actually are getting pregnant and seeking other ways to actually get rid of this. But let me come back to Madam Madeleine here, because at the end of the day, I mean, we've had this argument. Many women actually now trying to say that we have left this whole burden, and not just women. We've also seen a tweet there from a man who's actually saying we've left this burden of family planning and the use of contraceptives to our women folk. We now want our men folk to also start, doing family planning. Do you think this is a simplistic argument? Do you think that there is actually need to actually try and see what sort of methods men too can actually start participating in this use of contraceptives?
Yes, that's true. And actually, we have been in community outreach recently, like 2 days ago, in the community where we're teaching people about family planning. But you can see that there is a perception that family planning is for women. Even if when we try to approach these men to explain, they were laughing at us. They said, no, this is for women. Just we are bringing our women. So there's that perception, and I think it should not be like that. Because family planning is for the families, for men and women. So they should understand, they should sit together, discuss, understand, have the same common. And we have some method for men also. There's some method for men, so they should be involved.
Talking of men,
if you allow me to come back to what are we not doing right. For example, when I was in the community outreach, considering what now people are asking us, women are requesting and everything, so I see we are not giving like the correct and full information to these women. For example, coming back to some side effect, of course there are some minor side effects, but you need to inform this person who is coming for contraceptive. So you inform this person so that this person
can make the right choice.
Yeah, the right choice. So what is happening is when we understand when women are asking, it's like when they go, because we have a shortage of healthcare professionals and we need things to be done. So it's like, I felt like these women, they go, but when they come back at home, they don't have the full information. They don't have, they don't get this full information to make their consent. So that's why, for example, a woman come to the hospital, say, I need what you have given to my neighbor. You see?
It doesn't make sense.
I think people, when they practice, our colleagues, need to take time, need to sit down and then explain, give more information.
Yeah.
And all of us who are also in academia, we should do more community outreach to give information to people.
Right, and this brings me to, Dr. Anisette. I think this is a proper, statement that we need to do more as far as the people in the health practitioner are concerned. There's still a big gap right there. I mean, when a woman goes to the medical center and says, give me what you gave to my neighbor, honestly, there's a failure there from the teams, including RBC, no?
Yes. What we are perhaps encouraging now is perhaps to make some changes. Because in the past, the family planning was considered as a program for women. But what is now in the national family planning policy is just to take family planning as something for the family, and a decision must come from the couple, women and the husband, and also they have to discuss, to have a family dialogue. They discuss about how many children to make and when to make them, and perhaps to decide about which family planning method to take.
But you know you will not be in everybody's house. You don't have cameras in these houses. How will you know that that decision has been agreed upon by both parties?
So we are just working on a different strategy to reach couples, not only women, but men and women. And also what we are doing is to take family planning as something for everyone. So where family planning, especially for community mobilization, we are involving different institutions and also at each level to ensure that everyone working with the population is also providing the right information to the population in terms of family planning use, and also to orient people where to get family planning. So on this issue regarding the position of some men about family planning, so now we are advancing because we have the involvement of civil society organizations like Rwamurek, and we are also working with the government of Rwanda to mobilize men to support family planning use. So perhaps we know we have a few family planning methods for men, but what we need is perhaps to have a man supporting the idea of using family planning, and also participating in the decision making at the household level.
Right.
And perhaps for some options decided to be taken by women or by man, perhaps to go together to their facility and to be counseled together and to have the information together and to take the information together, the man and the woman.
Right.
And perhaps why not associating children? Because you know that at family level, in terms of complementarity, in terms of gender equality, and also to make sure we are improving the decision making for everyone, each member of the family. We hope that parents and the children must have a discussion.
So the kids should also be able to decide whether they are ready to get a brother or a sister.
So perhaps to help parents to make perhaps a right decision, and also to have perhaps the right and the occasion to have the information from the their parents.
I think this brings into play a very important issue and also very controversial, Dr. Eugene, the right age to talk to people about contraception. When is the right time? Because he says we need to also start bringing the children to this discussion at our homes. So when is the right time to actually start talking to people about contraception?
I think I can say that the right time is when we know that girls, they can be pregnant. So there's no real, what we can say, a good time, but we've seen very young girls falling pregnant. So we can start even from school to teach the young girls what is contraceptive method means. Doesn't mean that they have necessarily to use it, but at least to have knowledge about that. Whenever they fall in those kind of accidents, so they know how to protect themselves. So we should start at a younger age, and I believe that the earlier we start, the better, because as they grow up, they understand better what is family planning, and they can teach others. They can go, as we said, this is not an issue of one person as a doctor, or it's everybody. Everybody should be able to understand it. Everybody should be able to understand that the side effects are very minimal. Everybody should be able to understand to even tell their neighbor that this is really something we can be very helpful, because we don't want to have children we cannot look after them. So for me, we can start even from the younger age, even at school, explaining family planning importance.
Right. You know, Professor Relisa, he says we can start from schools, and I want to read your thoughts on the fact that we have religious groups that actually are totally against the issue of use of contraceptives, even family planning, as a matter of fact. I mean, I'll have to put a disclaimer here. We did try to invite a member of the religious groups from the Catholic Church, because we've already known their position as far as contraception is concerned. Because we know for a fact that most schools are, major schools are actually mostly owned by the Catholic Church. Most hospitals, the same, owned by, the Catholic Church. How difficult or how easy then is it to actually sell this message of contraception when they actually hold this power as far as control of this institution is concerned?
Thank you, Eugene. Actually, I think there's not a big controversy between what we were talking about here and the church beliefs. What we are talking about here is family planning, and we are talking about reproductive health. What we do in young children in school is educating them about their lives, just understanding their lives, understanding that sexual intercourse is bad. I mean, we are discouraging it, and the church discourages it. We don't encourage it. Number two, know about their bodies, their reproductive systems, how it works. If you happen to do it, when can you be pregnant? When is your risk highest? That's what we're talking about. And I think many people should separate family planning. It's about talking to families, when can they have a child? When is very important. It's about their families. And so that is where we put more emphasis, and then raise their children, the right children. I'm sure when you have 10 kids, you can't convince me that you have more time to take care of your children as if you have one and one after 4 years or 5 years.
Yeah, but you're facing an institution that is actually quoting from the Holy Word, saying that multiply and subdue the earth. Give birth to as many children as you want. So how easy is it then to actually face them head on? And you're saying there's no controversy?
Well, that's a big one, Eugene. What I'm talking about family planning here, I'm talking about saving lives. I am talking about the more you get pregnant, the higher the risk of dying. That's for sure. I can give you data that we have, for example, in sub-Saharan Africa. 1 woman out of 39 has a risk of dying in sub-Saharan Africa. 1 out of 39. Whereas when you go to Southeast Asia, which is the next, for example, is 1 out of 116. But if you go in developed countries, is 1 out of 4,200. You can see the risk. There's a huge difference.
So the more you give birth, the higher your chances of dying.
Exactly.
But
and this is more to women.
Madam Madeleine, we have women who are actually saying, the church is telling us this. We actually give birth as many children as we want until we can actually not be able to give birth. The scientists are saying, hey, you need to actually control. And the government says, control this giving birth. But there are women who are saying, enough is enough. You're actually confusing us. We want to make our own choices of what we want. Our body is our choice. So where do you lie? Where do you stand? What would you tell people who are actually saying this, as far as women is concerned, women rights, women power is concerned?
I think the response is the last word you used. It's my body. It's me. It is me who need to take decision. So those women who say that enough is enough, we need to take decision. So I say congratulations to them. So the church is there, the scientific are there, but also we see the fact. Like Professor is saying, there are facts. How can you be healthy if you need to give birth like every year? How are you going to be healthy? How are you going to take care of your children if you have like 10, 12 and everything? So we see the fact, and the facts are there. Right. The church is there. I'm a Christian. They give us, they tell us and everything. I read the Bible and everything. But also we see the facts. So for me, I say that a woman needs to make a choice, a personal choice. That's why now the theme is family planning is your life, it is your responsibility. So you need to think about yourself, but also think about your children, think about your family. So I think I may say congratulations to those women who say now enough is enough, we need to take personal decisions.
We need to take personal decisions. But of course, when you hear big figures like the president of Tanzania, who actually came out publicly and said contraception is actually a way of being lazy to take care of your children, and is also killing our labor force. When you hear people come out, people of such magnitude saying such kind of things, how does it affect this campaign of use of contraceptives, family planning? Dr. Anisette, how does this affect these campaigns?
So I think we have perhaps to think twice. To think twice and to see how we can move forward together. And I know that educating people is a process, and it takes a long time. And for family planning, we have many opportunities in place, especially in Rwanda, but also we have such challenges. Yeah. And among the challenges, it's just we have some people who are not supportive, yeah. And we are saying some religious leaders and also some cultural and perhaps personal beliefs, yeah. For some individuals. And what we are doing now is perhaps for the government of Rwanda, we are organizing the mass campaign for awareness raising, and also to ensure that we are consistently providing information to people, and we are educating people not only to ask them directly to use family planning, but to tell them about the benefit of using family planning, and also the disadvantages of not using family planning and having a big family, right. A big family size. So here what we are perhaps promoting is perhaps to let people going together, married people, unmarried people, young people, adults and children, having the same information. And we know that by creating those kind of situation where people are together and discussing about something today, tomorrow, so consistently, so some changes are just coming. Right. I gave you an example. So I know that considering policy where we were coming from and where we are now with policy religious leaders, so now the Minister of Health is approaching them and discussing with them, and perhaps now the situation is the religious leaders accept that family planning is a good program which can perhaps contribute to speed up the development. Right. And also they are supporting the implementation of that program. And what perhaps is there is perhaps some of them are not allowed to provide the full range of contraceptives.
So they will just support by word of mouth, but implementing from the institutions, it becomes a bit difficult.
Yes. That reason why perhaps we are saying that. So let's all together support family planning. Yeah. Okay. And perhaps everyone contribute as he can.
As they can.
According to his mandate.
Right. Dr. Eugene, let's get back to that statement. Okay, fine. It's easier to say that, I mean, that's Tanzania and this is Rwanda, but people have different role models. Let's take an example. If in a house, a married couple, you have the husband, saying that, Magufuli yara wivuze, vivemo, contraceptives. I mean, what sort of impact do you think such statements are going to be having on these kind of campaigns across the region?
Of course, that can have a negative impact to some people, yeah. And not necessarily to everybody. Because I always consider life that it's not a straight line. So you'll have a balance. Probably he said that he has maybe facts or he has some explanations, we don't know. We cannot criticize that, but someone can take it negatively and say this is how it is, but someone else can say no, this is not the case. So as we said for the church's influence as well, it's the same. So I believe that educating people as much as we can, that's the solution. Yeah. So we need to talk to them, and as they grow in their way of understanding, that's where because the reality on the ground is there. So it means even if you believe in what the church is saying, so if you get like 10 children in 10 years, so you'll feel the burden of that. And that can also teach the neighbors how to take themselves. So I think in this world there's a balance, so you have to take a decision, correct one, according to the information you have. Of course, some people will go this way, others that way, but we don't give up. So we have to continue educating, working together with everybody, involving the couples, because when there's a support of the family, the husband, I think it gives a good support to the wives. And we've seen in the clinics that some of them, when they have the chance to come with the husband, this decision is taken easily. But when one is alone, it's sometimes very difficult to take a decision because maybe it's not supported by the family, by the husband. So I'm very optimistic because most of the people today, they understand that. Most of the people, they understand that we need to make sure that we plan the number of children we want and at what pace. Because as doctors who are working in the hospitals, we know the consequences. As my colleague here was saying, so complications can happen. Being the mother can die, being the baby can die, and of course, when you are lucky to have them, sometimes difficult to support them at school, maybe for treatment. So whatever is said in the world, those who believe in family planning, we need to continue educating, preach.
And probably you can influence the rest.
Yeah,
but then,
exactly.
Tell me, do you have regulations where you decide and say, you know what, if someone is married and comes alone to actually seek services for contraception, what sort of regulations do you have? Because you insist that it is actually proper for people to come together, for people to decide these things together on their own. And still on the backdrop of that statement, that question I asked Madam Madeleine here, of women who say, it's my body, it is my choice, don't force me to come with my husband, don't make me decide this with my husband, I have decided personally. So how do you deal with this as medical practitioners?
No, we simply deal with that by the fact that the woman is responsible. She can take her own decision. She's already in that age where she can decide. Yeah. But we always emphasize the good thing of coming as a couple, because when the support is there, it's not only for family planning, it's for everything, any medications, any treatment, whenever they come to seek for help at the doctor's office, you can see a difference between those who are like a couple and someone who has come older. But when the decision has to be taken, so she can take her decision and we'll help her. We don't have to wait for the husband to come. Yeah.
Great. Professor Elisa, I mean, the pharmacists, I mean, a lot has been also said about them when it comes to over-the-counter sales of contraceptives. Some of them would just give it to you without explaining anything. You know, someone comes, it's morning after pill, give it to me. They'll just give it to you. All they're concerned about is just that money. What sort of ethical regulations are in place or should be in place to actually help with what we started talking about as far as information on the side effects, so that when you're making that decision to take that pill or to take that particular contraceptive, you are making an informed decision, an informed choice?
Thank you. Actually, what we're talking about when we talk about the family planning and we talk about access, we're talking about information. All we want is for mothers to know about these services. I talked about their bodies, but also health practitioners. I think they also need to be educated, the same level. So all we are talking about is that mothers should have this information. If you know that there is this information available, but you want to have as many children as you want, that's fine with me, but you should know that there is also an option. The other issue is educate also health practitioners, including pharmacists, who give medications, if I could say, on the counter. Yeah. I think they need to be more educated on teaching them. What we see is that most people, actually, among those who have access to family planning, the continuity is a problem. Because they have them, they use them for a short time, they get minor side effect, and they drop. No one ever told them that this is a side effect, and it's only for a short time. And if you go to the doctor, he can give you a medication to treat the side effect, but he continues the medication. So I think health professionals also need to be educated
They need to be
about family planning and
I
side
think
effects.
Madam Madeleine needs them in her class. So what sort of help then are we giving to these people? Because at the end of the day, you'll find that most young people who are not married, who want to get these contraceptives, they want to go there either secretly, either without wanting anybody else to know that they were there. And so the issue of following up on these issues that Professor Elisa is talking about becomes a bit difficult. So what sort of advice would you give for self, motivation, self-awareness? What sort of advice would you give that these people can actually use when they are seeking these services?
Now, if there are people who are following us, what I can say that they need to ask information themselves. So if you go to the counter, you can just ask information. If they give you like medication, you can ask, what are the side effects? What am I supposed to wait for, like side effect or negative what? So I encourage them always to ask for information. Yeah. And for those health professionals, now I'm thinking that in academia, what we are able to do is like continuous professional development, trainings. So if we can plan that and we can reach some people, we do that. Yeah, but what I encourage people is for themselves to ask for information.
Ask for information.
Don't just take medication and leave without asking.
Yeah. But how do they do that? Because we also have some stigma attached to buying contraceptives. We have people who will sneak into these pharmacies, waiting until the pharmacist is free with nobody inside. If there's someone, they'll keep mark timing around that pharmacy until everybody is gone, and then they'll walk in, and then they'll start looking as if they don't know what they want, but they're just looking for it. For example, condoms. And then they'll say, Makari. And then they want it to be wrapped very, very, very quickly under the table. Then they're given. So what time do they have to ask these questions when they have this stigma attached to buying contraceptives?
Yeah, that's the problem, but I don't see why they should be stigmatized and why they should feel stigmatized. Because now family planning is a talk. We are talking about the benefit of this family planning, you see. And also we are talking about the challenges or the bad of not doing this family planning. Yeah. So I think people should feel like proud of doing so. So, and if you sneak, if you wait that people are going from the pharmacy, then it's okay. You have waited for long. Then wait for 5 minutes to ask for information. Question.
And if someone walks in, you can pretend you're not even there. Let's just go and read some of the tweets that we have right here because they've been coming in thick and fast. The hashtag, as always, is InFocusRW. I see 54 new notifications. Let's try and see from these notifications if we can be able to grab a few tweets that are actually coming through on this. I have Nsanga Sylvie, who's actually a friend of the show. Thank you so much, Eugene. As educated and empowered, I am confused every day when it comes to family planning by two speeches from the churches and government. Government should actually regulate contraceptives language. Do you agree, Dr. Anisette? Do you agree that government needs to just do the regulation and then the people should actually make their own decision? Is that what you actually think as well?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I think what is promoted by the government is just to let people take their own decision.
Yeah.
And perhaps we know that Rwandans are in different churches.
Yeah.
And perhaps to educate them about family planning, and when it comes to take a decision, which is not compromising your belief.
Yeah.
So I mean that I want to mean that family planning is something you can take. And perhaps take a decision after thinking.
Yeah, you need to take
what about you have to take, and perhaps how you have powers to use it. And another thing is perhaps what the Ministry of Health is promoting is to help people to have family planning services by integrating those services into other services.
Right.
So you come for perhaps in maternity, and before discharge, you are proposed the family planning method.
They tell you what is better for you. All right, we have one from Alexandra Morinzi who says, how can we engage more men in family planning? Because many campaigns focus on encouraging women to use contraceptive methods, and yet men can be involved also by using vasectomy. He brings in a very important issue. Let me hear from Dr. Eugene. Vasectomy, of course, some people, we know we have reverse vasectomy, but we have people who have fears. What if the time I decide that we are ready to have children and we go back to reverse it and it doesn't work? Men as well have fears as much as women have as far as side effects are concerned. So how are we dealing with this issue that this man, Alexander, is raising?
Yeah, that's still a big issue because men are still reluctant to accept the vasectomy. We've seen at least a group, the number increasing a little bit. Because some of them are coming even to request for vasectomy themselves. But the big number are still reluctant. First of all, they are scared about the operation. I should tell them that this is a very small operation which can take 10 to 15 minutes under local anesthesia. Of course, the surgery itself, it's at the part where maybe they feel like by touching there, everything will go away. So some of them believe that. But I think educating again is one of the things to put in place or to put in front. Fortunately for the women, we have so many options, which is sometimes you can change, but for the men, it's only that option at the moment
that
which
you
can use.
Right.
And whenever they feel that there's an operation involved, they feel that this can be really a traumatic thing.
Big problem.
But they should be reassured that this is a very, very simple and small operation. And I think women will be happy to see the men also to get also involved in family planning.
So I think we need to see more campaigns on vasectomy, going out to create more awareness on how it is important. Chantal Muhoza brings in a very important one. He says, emergency contraception is still not subsidized and only accessible in private pharmacies and clinics at a very expensive price. What is RBC doing to address this? Just real quick. This is a very important one. I mean, what are we doing to address this issue?
So I can say something on this situation. Because emergency contraception, perhaps people know that they can get it from private pharmacies. But what I can add is that in different health facilities, public and private, we have also an option to use other contraceptive to make an emergency contraception. So we can use the existing pills we know to make an emergency contraception. So the service is available in the private and also in the public facilities.
So we can use the ones we already have in the place of emergency.
Yes.
All right. I think there's still more questions on that. But Louisa, a good friend of the show from just recently, says that when doing family planning but still deciding to have, let's say, 4 children, and let's assume many families do, overpopulation will remain an issue. And obviously, we do not want any government to forbid us to get as many children as we want. So what do we do? Let's talk about this. Will laws help us here? Do we need to prefect people on the number of children? I remember a presidential campaign in the last presidential election had actually come up with a proposal on the number of children per family so that we can actually tame the population growth. Do you think the laws will actually be of a help in this particular situation, Professor?
I don't think the laws, in my opinion, I don't think the laws would help very much. What I think is that we need to educate the population. We need to educate families on the importance of having children, how many children to have, what are the consequences of having many children, and what are the effects of not spacing children. I think after we educate the families, to me, that's the most important we want. Give people information, educate them, and leave them to decide.
You leave them to decide. Do you think the laws are way to go? Like put up a law and then tell people 3 children per family. Is this what we need?
No, personally, myself, I think also when you have given people information, then we leave them to decide themselves.
You leave them to decide themselves. Dr. Eugene?
The big challenge with the law is to know how many children do you want? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? So it's becoming a little bit challenging. But I think the rationale is to explain to people that, and that they know, because in the practice, people, they know that having so many children in a short period, it's very tiring and very complicated.
It's very complicated.
So,
Let's see this one here from Anderson, who's actually saying, did you know that using contraceptives is only one method among many others for family planning? So calling the population upon using it only without mentioning other options leads to minimum results. Teach them all methods and let them choose any of them responsibly. I think this is a very important one that we really need to actually take home. We have one over here from... I am worried about population growth since, let's see this one here from Dr. Magnifico says, I'm worried about the population growth since the surface area is not growing. How can we take this to the villages, not just in the city? A very important one. So how are we taking this conversation to the Midugudu, to their areas? Because that is also where we need to have this kind of conversations. RBC, how are you doing this, Dr. Ansat?
So I think we have to propose it to make a debate everywhere.
Yeah.
And perhaps even at the village level, to let people know that the example of Rwanda, with the population growth of 2.6. So Rwanda is making a new district in terms of numbers of population every year. So we hope that we can perhaps reduce this population growth, not making a new district population. Why not perhaps a sector or a cell?
Yeah. Great. Let's see this one here from Bon Pasteur, who says there is a dilemma between getting the contraceptive methods like condoms or emergency contraceptive pills and social stigma on a person who needs it. There should be some services that provide it in secret to reduce stigma. Should we go secret? Do we need some secret places where you can go privately to get yourself a condom and some of these contraceptives? Yeah?
Well, I think stigma is attached to culture, beliefs, and background.
Yeah.
I don't think we should encourage the stigma and allow people to go hiding and do this and ask that. I think we should demystify the contraceptive methods, demystify the information, make it should be normal. People, actually most people are dying because of lack of information. Yeah?
So if you demystify, then there will be no need of taking
I think
things in secret.
Demystify this information. It is public information. People should know and know the consequences. And people should know that asking about your life, family planning, it's not a crime, it's not a problem. And you should have access to this information. This is all we're talking about.
Yeah. So if an adolescent was to go to a pharmacy to buy a morning after pill, do you think it would be appropriate
this
to
is
give
what
it to
we
them?
should demystify. Actually, I can tell you the data we have worldwide, the highest mortality is in adolescents because they fear to go for this information. They don't know about it. They don't know when they could be pregnant. Parents even cannot talk about it. Doctors are not talking about it. They think they are not concerned. Eventually, they become the victim.
Yeah.
So I think we should demystify this information, especially to adolescents.
Right. Okay, so let's take the final round. Same on that one. What do we do from here now, Dr. Eugene?
I think we have to increase the discussions between ourselves and our patients who are coming. There are things we didn't talk about. Some people, they think that using contraceptive method, they won't get pregnant anymore. So the fertility issue is coming in. Some others, they think that cancer can come from those medications, as we said. So those are things which are totally wrong. So we need to continue conversation with whoever is concerned. So get that fear out of the way, so that they can feel that this is something which we need to use,
can actually take
because we want to protect ourselves from the complications can happen.
Right. Dr. Anna said, I mean, as we finish, and this very important question, what are you doing to address the issue of parental consent for adolescents? Just very briefly, because we are out of time.
So I think what we are promoting is just to let people have the right information, and perhaps the parents to let their children having also information and services.
Right.
And we have some opportunities. Perhaps we are now waiting for the International Conference on Family Planning, which will be done in Rwanda in November from 12 to 15, and also the different mass campaign ongoing in different districts.
Okay. What about you? The final take on this conversation. Where do we go next? What should we be doing next? In closing.
The message I can give people are the following, is that no one should take care of yourself or your family, because you are the one who need to take care of your family. Coming back to the Magufuli president, the president message. For example, when your child is sick when you need to take your child at school, when you need to take care of your woman when he or she's pregnant, you are alone.
The president wouldn't be there.
I don't think so. So that's my message. That's the last message. And I think, as others have said, we need to increase this campaign. We need to give more information to let people decide themselves.
Right. Thank you so much. Of course, that is where we actually bring down the curtains to this conversation. And of course, because Christian, a very good friend of ours today, thank you for actually coming through. We just have to now bring down the curtains to this conversation. On this point, it ends in these 4 walls, but it continues on our social media platforms. The hashtag, as always, InFocusRW. Also, go on my Twitter page. There's a pinned tweet right there. If you really believe that we're doing a great job on social media as far as Twitter is concerned, you can definitely vote for me as the male Twitter personality of the year. There's actually a pinned tweet and a link right there. You can just go and put in your vote right there. We're going to say thank you for watching. Thank you for those tweets. Keep them coming. Let's have the conversation continuing. Hashtag, as always, InFocusRW. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Good night.